Hello coaches! I wanted to make a video for you today to give you a little more explanation on what a challenge group is, how we run them, and what is sort of, what people can expect, what you can expect being part of them. I am going to cover today in this video simply what challenge groups are, the different types of challenge groups that exist, what the Beachbody Challenge is, which we'll talk about as well, how you start one, like what is expected from you, what you should be looking for, and sort of what the expectations have been placed on you. We're going to talk a little bit about the daily aspect of running a challenge group, and then we'll discuss keeping your challengers active and moving forward. Now, I'm going to cover these in a short, concise manner, well, the best way I can. You guys know I talk a lot. So we will not be talking about sales. We'll not be talking about objections. We'll not be talking about any of that stuff. You will learn that throughout other videos through the week. This is the general overview so that you can have a little bit of confidence understanding what you're getting yourself into, because you'll be more likely to actually invite people to a challenge group if you understand what it is. So a challenge group itself is not like this black and white thing where this is what we do, this is what's required, this is it. Challenge group is a very loose term because you can have challenge groups that are something as simple as, hey, we're going to get together and we're going to do squats for a month. We're going to do 5 of them on Monday at the first, and by the end of the month, we're doing 100 a day. That would be a challenge group. You could do a clean eating group where everyone reports their food every night for 21 days. Something like that. Challenge groups are very fluid. Now, the challenge group, the Beachbody Challenge specifically, is based on 3 pieces, and it's nutrition, accountability, and fitness. So nutrition is covered in a challenge pack, which is going to include their Shakeology and access to the meal planner. Then, of course, the accountability is the actual group, and the fitness is the program they've selected. So the challenge groups, as I will be referring to them going forward, if I'm speaking on it, it will be about the full Beachbody Challenge, where people are on Shakeology, they're doing a fitness program, and we're helping them with their nutrition. You'll learn from some of the other coaches about other ways to run challenge groups, but I'm going to talk about where my expertise lies, and I'm going to let other coaches talk about where their expertise lies in some of the different types of groups. So, as far as starting a group, what we are not going to have you do is start your own challenge group. One of the things that I always try to express to my coaches as they come in is that the minute you start talking to someone about Beachbody in any facet, whether they simply see you post a post-workout picture or a Shakeology picture, or maybe the wording for your ad, for your group, like the ad copy, if you will, you're basically teaching them how to be a coach. One of the most important things that you can do in this business is be duplicatable. You want it to be reasonable for someone to want to do what you're doing. So one of the things that we don't ever do is have you run a challenge group by yourself, because for the most part, that's intimidating. It'll also sort of fall flat for the most part, because unless you can get a very large amount of challengers, you're probably going to lose some people along the way, and it will get very quiet and can be discouraging for the people that are still there, which can be eliminated simply by not doing one alone because of this and the size of the group. What we want to create with these challenge groups is a coach team and then the challengers. So what happens is your upline will have a challenge group that they're already running. If your upline is brand new, then chances are they are still working with their upline, and they'll be in one of theirs. My computer's giving me attitude. I don't want to screw up your video. So what we don't want to have happen is you be on your own. What we want to have you as part of a team, but we also know that just because you're a coach and you have an upline doesn't mean that your upline is already running these big challenge groups, right? It's very possible that, I signed them up as my coach last month, and then they signed you up this month, which doesn't give them a ton of experience. So in that case, you'd still be in the next person up's challenge group. What we do is we look for 5 people who want to be in the group. And those 5 people are going to be you guys, coaches, not challengers. And each of those people are given a job. There are 5 roles or responsibilities in a group. I'm going to read them to you. Everything just reset itself. happen is you will choose one of these roles as you join the group. Well, whatever. I'll just tell you what they are. You might have a role of fitness, where your job is to comment on everybody's post-workout picture. You might have the motivation role, which is to post a motivational picture and motivational quotes and motivational videos throughout the week. You might have the job where you are in charge of food. So you friend everyone on MyFitnessPal and you pop it and you make sure that they're tracking and you make sure that on their rest days they're posting healthy meals, things of that nature. You pop in, help make sure they're drinking their Shakeology every day and see they understand why that's so important. You might have a role of the weigh-ins, which is keeping the weigh-in document updated, getting on people if they've been skipping it, checking in, finding out what's going on, even saying something like, hey, why did you gain weight last week? Can we talk about what's going on? So you'll be more in charge of that. And then the final one that's in my group is reminders. And so you'd be the one to post the reminders for the call, post the reminders for, hey, what chapter are you guys on for the book? Make sure you guys keep up with your reading. And, hey, weigh-ins are tomorrow. All about reminding them what's coming. Or even saying things like, oh, don't forget, if it's your rest day, you need to post a picture. So you are just like the reminder person. And depending on what kind of personality style you have, and what kind of activities you enjoy, and how much time you have to give to the group, you would pick a role. And everyone would self-assign that as they are solidified as the group. The only thing you need to do to become a coach on the coach team is bring in one challenger. So as you can imagine, this makes it a lot easier for people who are getting started to actually become coaches and have a challenge group for people. The goal is 1 to 3 people with a 5-person team. And what this allows is it allows us a really good number of 15 to 20 challengers, because your upline will have their own challengers in there as well. A good solid group of 15 to 20 challengers and a nice coach team to make sure that nobody slips through the cracks. I mentioned earlier that one of the things we want to do is be duplicatable and that you're teaching people how to be a coach. Well, by doing this, if someone has been considering being a coach, maybe a month into their group, and you go, hey, have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing? They're like, well, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, it seems easy enough. Like, what do you do? And you're able to go, all I do is friend everyone on MyFitnessPal. Like, you'll get your own job and your own challenge group. You only need to find 1 to 3 people to bring into the next group. They're going, oh, well, if you're really just doing what I can see that you're doing, that seems easy. That seems like I could do that. So we want to really draw that path between where your challengers are and where you are and make it a nice short line. If you decided to run your own group, that line is going to look a lot longer, because they're not going to think that they can get 15 people, that they could run a call, that they could put all these documents together. They don't even know how to make a Facebook group at that point. So asking them to picture themselves doing those things is really kind of unfair of us, because there's no way, right? It's very intimidating, and that's a lot. So you'll never run a group by yourself. At some point, you will graduate from your upline's group because you have brought in so many coaches of your own that as a group, you're able to get 10 or 15 people yourself, and you don't need your upline anymore. But in my opinion, that takes a few months, at least 3. You'll be in quite a few challenge groups with your 1 or 2 people before you might pair up with your downline. Or you may even come in at the same time as someone who goes through training with you. You guys are both, well, I've got 2 coaches in my downline who want to work. So, I probably like 6. That's probably too many to put into Amber's challenge group or Megan's challenge group or Griselda's challenge group. But it's not really enough to pull this off on my own. Let me grab my partner from Coach Basics and see if she's got a couple people in her downline, or he has a couple people, and we can come together. And either way, there's still 5 coaches in the group, and you're still shooting for that 15-person challenge group. This is really going to help you with the fact that you're going to lose about a third of your people. Even if you're very good. If you're not very good and you don't pay attention to them, then you'll lose quite a bit more. But you're going to lose about a third of your people. What this is going to do is this is going to allow you, 1, to be duplicatable, like I said, 2, to take some load off of your shoulders, and 3, make sure that there's still some people active at the end so that you guys can keep moving them forward into groups. So if your coach is just not working business, which is what I would imagine would be rare if you were in this training group. But if that is the case, then you can reach out to one of the leaders of your training, and they will probably have a group. No, they will have a group that they'll be starting shortly, and you can jump in with them. So whoever's running your video chat would also be a great place to go if your upline is inactive. Now, obviously, we recommend speaking with your upline first, simply because since it is capped down at 5 people, anything more than that gets really unruly and chaotic, and is actually kind of takes away from the experience. We wouldn't want to just all pile on the leaders of the group. We want to try to distribute it properly, and also you want your teams to get to know each other as well. So that is going to be the structure that you can expect to follow. So again, you're part of a 5-coach team. Your goal is 1 to 3 people to bring into that group, and then you would just be in the next one. Now, for the most part, you can find a challenge group starting every Monday somewhere on the team. I do mine every 2 weeks. It just makes sense for me because that's how many people I can handle at once. Many people do 1 a month. Some people do them to where it's 1 group and people just start every month. However your upline is structuring, it is completely fine. But if you need a group, it is not hard to find a challenge group on the team. So there's somewhere for you, I promise. And I know that they don't all have 5 coaches on them. So you can definitely find a spot for you and your challenger. So working with your upline, being part of a coach team, having your challengers, that's how you're going to start. But then on a day-to-day basis, all you're going to want to do is be as active as you would expect. I personally do not have my coach teams post their workout pictures, their Shakeology, do their weigh-ins, simply because we don't need 5 more people contributing to the chaos that can be a Facebook group. And chances are also they're in more than one, because if they got 1 challenger in October and 2 challengers in November, now they're in 2 different challenge groups. That's a lot of work for them, especially because as coaches, we're already posting this on our personal page every day. So I don't require that. I think that's overkill. So you're able to be in multiple ones, and you can just keep posting your stuff on your own page, your own profile, which is where you want to, sort of put it out there into the world. That's how you're living. So on a day-to-day basis, we don't need you to participate as a challenger. However, you'd be expected to hop in if someone was venting and having a hard time, reach out to people who weren't meeting their requirements, pay attention to who's posting and who's not, send messages, send text messages, just be a coach to the people on the group. That's pretty much it. And no one's expecting you to take complete care of all 15 people. There's 5 of you. So if you're going to be in there, maybe you're in there in the mornings usually, and someone else is usually in there at night. You just want to spend some quality time in there. But the more active you are in the group, the more active the group will remain. So on a day-to-day basis, you'd have your little job, and then you just want to be a good coach. You just want to be there. Or as often as you'd like your challengers to post, you have to post that much. I personally have a love for the Beachbody Challenge Group guides that you guys are going to see this week, which are basically 30, 60, 90-day posts of exactly what to say if someone's doing a particular program. Now, in my groups, I don't stick to one particular program, honestly, because it's quite difficult to find that many people that want to do the same program without feeling like maybe you're compromising on what their needs and wants are. So, I could just make everyone do Turbo Fire, but I'd really rather everyone do the program that suits them the best. So I do mix them up, which there's even a special guide for challenge groups that's a mixed program. So if you're doing just Brazil butt lift, there's a whole guide for that. If you're doing a mixed group the way that I do mine, there's a whole guide for that, where you literally do not have to come up with a single new thing to say. No one's asking you to reinvent the wheel. It's very, very copy and paste. I actually add just a little extras into mine that are totally optional. There's a site that you guys will learn about this week that has different articles and tips that you can share. I actually do an auto schedule so that in the middle of the day something pops up for them, like recipes or articles, just to add a little something, just because I am not as present as I'd like to be in the group. So that gives it a little touch added to it. So on a day-to-day basis, that's really all there is. There's not a ton. As far as keeping people going, obviously, again, you need to be as active as they are. You need to know if Monday comes and goes and the people who got quiet over the weekend didn't come back. You need to know. If people lose their partners, you need them to be telling you that. You need to be aware. You need to go, it's been 3 days since so and so posted a picture. What's going on? You have to be involved with your group. And that is one of the great things about working in a team is that's not all going to fall on you because you have jobs and kids and spouses and school and your own fitness journey. And so it can be a lot to undertake by yourself. So with a group like this, if everyone's doing their job properly, nobody will slip through the cracks and everyone will have success. Now, obviously, people are not going to usually, well, that's not fair. Sometimes people do reach their fitness goal in their very first challenges. I personally run my challenge groups at 60 days a piece just because it's easy for me to manage and understand. And I find that anything longer than that, you really get dwindled down to a pretty small group of still committed people. So if I have some committed people at the end, I just accept them into the next group. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a plan to keep people engaged for longer than that 2 months. So I start talking about my next challenge groups like 2 weeks before the challenge group ends. I work on people becoming coaches at that point, things of that nature. So I never act like you're in a challenge group and you're done. It's just the first of many. I have people who've been in challenge groups for years with me since the beginning. They're about to hit their 2-year anniversary of being in challenge groups, and that's fine because you know what? That's good for them. It keeps them on track. That's good for me financially. It's good for me the fact that they'll probably become a coach eventually if they stick with something like this long enough and they love the challenge groups. They usually are a great resource for the other people in the group who maybe don't understand how do I open this document or I don't understand how to friend someone on MyFitnessPal. After a few challenge groups, these people are pros. They're helping you and they're getting the results as well. So I've always focused on, okay, are you joining the next one? What's your next program? Are you going to continue and do 30 days and then start a new one? Where are you going to be at? What are we doing moving forward? So I'm talking about next challenge group constantly, which is why you have to commit to being consistent in the business because if you didn't have a challenger, you didn't get yourself into a coach team and you were scrambling at the last minute because one of your other people wanted a group, that's your fault that you weren't continuing to move your business forward and you didn't plan on running a challenge group, so you don't have anything for them. And that's, where you let them down. So you need to be consistent in your activity. So if you know that you can commit to one a month, then one a month is your number. If you're going to do every other week is your number. Whatever it's going to be. But it needs to be consistent, whatever it is. So that's pretty much the basics. I know you guys had a lot of other specific questions, but there's going to be so much education this week on challenge groups that I don't need to answer the majority of those questions in this video. It will get really, really long and boring very quickly. We are going to go through a lot of them. I put them all in an FAQ document, and you're going to have access to that when it's complete. I just need to make sure that it's up to date and there's no duplicates and things like that. So that's pretty much it. I don't think I'm just looking really quickly to make sure I didn't miss anything for you guys. I will talk to you about how to make partners. I think partners are the key to keeping people in the group. And for the most part, your upline will do the partnering for you. You'll just have the people provide the information, and your upline will do the partners because I do teach the higher level coaches how to do partnering and use of the GEMS test and things of that nature. That's pretty much it. Okay. So this is the first of many challenge group videos that you're going to watch this week. I hope by the end of the week you've got a really firm grasp of what challenges are, why they are the foundation of our business, and how we can help you move forward, creating, a few challenges at first, and then eventually your own challenge groups down the road. So have an awesome rest of your day, and keep up the amazing work.